All right, continuing on Fantasy Football 2013 with the Seattle Seahawks. A look at them. Seahawks are a terrific team that probably has more likelihood of going to the Super Bowl than being a fantasy juggernaut. Quarterback is Russell Wilson. Wilson, a terrific quarterback. He threw over 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He had 4 touchdowns rushing, although 3 of those came in one game. He completed over 60% of his passes. Just a terrific season for him. From a fantasy perspective, he probably falls in that second tier of quarterbacks. Guys that you don't want to hang your hat on, but as bye-week replacements or even potential trade bait during the middle of the season when there might be some injuries. Russell Wilson has some real value there. And again, of course, you take him as a flyer in case he does end up with closer to 4,000 yards passing than the around 2,500 yards passing he had last year. Wilson, again, a solid quarterback as a quarterback too, but shouldn't be considered a starting candidate. He falls into that range of Andy Dalton and Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning as a fantasy quarterback. Running back, you have Marshawn Lynch. Lynch, one of the top 5, 6 running backs in the league. Doesn't hit the AP, Arian Foster area, but anywhere from 3 to 8 in the first round is where he should go. You lump him in there with the Ray Rices and the LaShawn McCoys. He's probably a little bit higher than that, but the C.J. Spillers and Jamel Charles and Doug Martins as well. And as such, he has some tremendous value. He will catch some passes. Of course, he's going to be tremendous on the goal line and get a lot of carries for the Seahawks, and there's no reason to believe he shouldn't be a top 5 pick in the draft. But again, he could go as late as number 8. The wide receiver positions for Seattle are a mess. They traded for Percy Harvin, hoping to exploit his talents as both a runner and as a wide receiver and return man. Of course, he now is hurt and will miss most, if not all, of the season. Harvin would have helped the team a lot. As it is, they have some injuries of their own still to deal with on their backup type players, and neither of them are really that great. They've got Golden Tate on one side, who did catch 7 touchdowns but only 45 passes last year, and Sidney Rice. Rice is solid, but he's got knee injuries. He just was overseas in Switzerland getting some procedure done to try and help alleviate some of the pain he's had there. Neither one of them really is a great choice, although if you're going to get a Golden Tate, he falls in that Greg Little category. If you can get him around 11 or 12, you've got a pretty solid receiver. As a wide receiver 3 or even a 4 or 5, if you want to go that deep into your wide receiver pool during your fantasy draft. Tight end is Zach Miller. Nothing spectacular there. I don't even think he falls in the category of draftable tight ends. The defense and special teams, that is terrific for the Seahawks. They were great last year. With Harvin, they were expected to be even better. Unfortunately, with his injury, it does remove a lot off of their return game. Remember, they don't have Leon Washington to return kicks. He's now in New England. So I think that drops their value as a fantasy defense a little bit. I would look for them. They're certainly still the number 1 or number 2. Without Harvin, I would probably put them below the 49ers as the second best defense in the league. As such, they might go as early as round 7, probably in the 8-9 range is when the Seahawks defense will be taken in your fantasy draft. If you're not prepared to take a defense that early, then just prepare not to be able to get Seattle. Kicker Stephen Hauchka. Hauchka is solid. They'll kick a lot of field goals. They won't score a lot of touchdowns, but in this case, for a good team to not score a lot of touchdowns and kick a lot of field goals, it enhances Hauchka's value. He sneaks into the top 10, maybe 10, maybe 11 as far as kicker goes, again, because they just don't score a tremendous amount. It's more of a defensive team in Seattle than a wild and crazy offense. So again, looking at the team, if you've got the quarterback spot, Russell Wilson, solid but not spectacular. Look at him as a quarterback 2, maybe a prime trade candidate for someone who's got some injury issues at their quarterback spot during the season. You got Marshawn Lynch, who should go anywhere from 3 to 8 in your draft and is in the 3rd to 8th pick. You've got a bunch of wide receivers, none of which are really worthy of much consideration, but if you are, take them late in the draft. Tight end, don't worry about too much. Defense is the first or second best defense in the league, and Hauchka as a kicker might slip into the top 10, but you might not have to worry too much about him either.